Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video. This is a paid request. It's time for Phil. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is for the 2017 Power Rangers reboot. Now, I saw this back in 2017, and watch it again, I felt the same way as I did back then. I didn't mind it. I know this seems like the film I would hate, despise, rant about. I thought it was pretty decent. Maybe because I didn't grow up with Power Rangers. When I was a kid, it was kind of, in a weird way, the opposition. Because I was a Ninja Turtles fan. But those were the new kids stepping up and taking over Ninja Turtles. So I had this kind of bias against it because of that. I've seen little bits here and there and didn't mind what I saw. But I didn't grow up with it as a fan. I just didn't grow with it. So when I saw this, I don't really have any of those attachments to garner on or form an opinion based on that. This, I thought, it seems like did a much better job of respecting its source material compared to what Michael Bay did in producing those Ninja Turtle films. Which is ironic because someone else requested me to review one of those, so I'll probably do them back to back. Because Jonathan requested Out of the Shadows, the 2016 sequel, so I watched both of these back to back. It's crazy just how much better this film is compared to that film. I grew up more of a Ninja Turtles guy, but the Power Rangers movie I like more than the two big budget Ninja Turtle live action films. Go figure, huh? Because, like I said, this one, while there are things I'm not big on, the whole Krispy Kreme, how that's related to the plot, I'm like, why? I thought that its heart was in the right place. I thought its characters were actually pretty decent. I thought the actors they got were actually pretty decent. So I grew to like these folks, these outcasts. Social outcasts who were strangers, who got together. You see them becoming friends, you see them bonding, until ultimately they have to fight the bad guys and save the city, save the world. And I thought it was commendable. I mean, the Power Rangers are the stars, like the kids are the stars. It's an origin story that I thought was interesting enough to make me intrigued to see what would happen next. It took its time to build stuff up. Now, granted, obviously they're hoping this is going to lead to a franchise, so you're getting things started off. I guess the question would be, should it have been an origin story or no? I think with Power Rangers, it makes sense for it to be an origin story, because it wasn't really an origin story told movie-wise. Because the previous Power Ranger films, they kind of started, from what I vaguely remember, like from the get-go, because they were based on the TV show. So I thought it made sense why they did in this instance. And the actors would be, I don't know, butcher these names, Dacre Montgomery, who's Jason, the Red Ranger, R.J. Cyler, who is the Blue Ranger. You have Bryan Cranston, who is Zordon. I thought these folks did an actually pretty commendable job. The way it's set up, because I know a little bit of Power Rangers. And for I understand, they introduced the idea that Zordon was a Red Ranger originally. I'm like, okay, so that right there gives a bit more to who the Zordon character is, because when I think of him on the show, it's just this weird guy in this tube, and he's, Power Rangers, you must do what I say. I'm like, who the hell are you? Smell my finger, get out of my face, who the hell are you, Zordon? And take your little chubby robot with you. But okay, you've now gotten my interest. I see the connection. He tried to protect this before. He went ahead. His team died. This is why he's adamant about doing this. His life form, at least a part of it, a copy, is put in this computer program. And millions and millions of years have gone by. We're in modern times. But back then, he was the Red Ranger. The bad guy, Rita, was a Green Ranger, and she turned, and she was... Which I don't know if they had that 100% on the show. There might have been hints on it, but here they make it official. I'm like, okay, one was red, one was green. They were together, they separated. The Ranger went rogue, thus Rita, here played by Elizabeth Banks. I thought, granted, as an outsider to the franchise, I thought that made sense to make things a bit more connected, to give a bit more elevation to the characters, to be a little less one-dimensional. I can appreciate that. Now, granted, after that, when I first saw this, I was a bit worried, because the first thing we see after that is his prank with a cow, where Jason is the football guy, and there's this prank with a cow, and his buddy's like, oh yeah, I milked her. You milked him? He's a male cow. One udder, right? And then they get in trouble with the law, they get in this car chase, or they're trying to get away. I'm like, oh my god, where is this going? We already got a prank with a cow, and a guy accidentally jerked off a cow without realizing it. I'm like, oh my god, where is it? Oh my god. But thankfully, it got way better after that. I even didn't mind the director's choice where the car chase is all done within the car, where we're in the car the whole time and we're going this kind of 360 and we never leave the inside of the car. I'm like, okay, that's an interesting directing choice. I can appreciate that. Because that's not, I mean, it's not Children of Men, but, you know, wish I had a scene like that. But I can appreciate thinking a bit outside the box. And then he's in trouble, his dad's disappointed, he's in detention, and you get to know the other characters and their social outcasts. And then Jason doesn't want responsibility, doesn't want to lead. He meets Billy, which R.J. Cyler I thought did a fantastic job. I really liked his character. He's a guy that he'll admit he's autistic, he's on the spectrum. But they don't hammer it home so much that it becomes this political, godly figure or put above other people on a pedestal. It's just, okay, that's who he is. But he's still a decent guy who makes mistakes, is socially awkward, but means well. He wants to go with his mind because him and his dad went there. He's not good at making friends. And I like the bond between him and Montgomery's character of Jason. I bought, hey, I'm going to stick up for this guy with this bully. I'm just going to slap the bully. Did you slap me? Yes, I did. You know, what are you going to do about it? And then becoming friends, slowly but surely. And yeah, I bought into that. I thought the chemistry between the two was pretty decent. And you get to know the other people. I wouldn't say they're the best characters in the world and movies in general, but I thought for this kind of film, I actually got to know a little bit. Okay, here's Zach, who's going to be the Black Ranger. There's this bit where his mom is very sick, and the reason he's not in school a lot is because he takes care of his bedridden mom. There's this other lady who's going to be the Yellow Ranger, Trini, and you get the idea that she's in the closet. She doesn't blatantly say she's a lesbian. That's the thing, they don't do this. They don't go, look at me, look at me. It's like, you get the idea, but it's more about her feeling like an outcast because she can't tell her family because her family's so normal and anything that's a bit different. And you see just how high-strung at least the mom is. It's like, no wonder she doesn't want to tell her mom just for how high-strung she seems. on everything. Then you have Kimberly, the cheerleader, but you tell that she doesn't really feel like she belongs, and early on she cuts her hair and just wants to be different from them. I thought the actors actually did a commendable job. And again, I think working together, I bought that would become friends. And there's a lot more you could do in sequels, and that's what the shame is that I think this was a good, not perfect, but a good starting point for sequels that I would have been interested in seeing, because in the sequels you can amp up the action. Now that we got all the setup out of the way, because you got to introduce 5 characters, you got to introduce this crazy idea, which is hard to do to try to be realistic. I mean, when you're using words like Zords and Power Rangers and the blah 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 Crystal and the villains Rita Repulsa and this guy Zordon, and it's hard to do that and do it with a straight face. I think that's why some people were not happy with the film, because they felt it should have been campier, or it should have been more crazy, goofy, silly. It should have gone forward with that direction. I guess you could say this is a movie that tried to please everybody, but pleased nobody. But it did please me because, like I said, it does have action, but not a lot. I think that is a complaint. That's legitimate. If you don't do this for action, there's not a whole lot of action. They pretty much save that for the finale of the film, which is kind of the bare, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but kind of hit the little moments. Like I said, it's more of a starting point. But that's the catch-22. You want to have a starting point, because that way when you do sequels, you don't blow your load. You have so many ways and directions and action and all sorts of stuff you could go and get better. But then you don't know you'll get another one, or a third, or a fourth film. So then this part of your mind's like, just put everything in. But if you do get a second one, then you're like, well, what can we do? We put everything in the first one. I guess all we do is go downhill. That's a tough thing in doing these type of movies. And that's the fun. Like, I'll get to this in the next review for that Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. I look at the way they portray the turtles in that. Just how lackluster, inept, dog shit they determine those characters. With the worst dialogue, like, what was it? Like, you're all large and no steel. Well, you're all heart and no brain. What the hell is this dialogue? You wouldn't hear this dialogue on Dora the Explorer. Here, there's like a scene where the characters get around a campfire and they're trying to morph and they can't do it, so it's like, well, we don't know much about each other. Some are telling their secrets, some are not. Some are letting their guard down, some they'll wait another day. And the music is subtle, but I thought they did a good job with the musical score in that scene. I got more out of those characters and the way they relate to each other and the way we get to know a bit of each other. Much more so than those 2 Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtle films combined. And that's what I'm talking about, where this did a better job at making the lead characters showcase with a level of respect where you get to know a bit of where they're from, the camaraderie, they get to know each other. When they get superpowers, just how, like, they see how powerful they are by accidentally breaking a piece of a sink or their phone, and just how worried they are, like, what the hell? And then they're able to do certain things and how excitable they are, like they can jump a chasm or jump all the way down, how excited and how gun-ho they are about it, like any of us would be if we find out we had superpowers. So there's a bit of relatability to it. And I think that again, because I grew to like the characters, I grew to see them as the slow bonding. Like early on when Jason and Billy are together, and Billy mentions he's on the spectrum, and Jason tries to make a joke of, "Oh, so is that new workout program?" And Billy's trying to explain. It's like, "No, no, it's a joke." Oh, that's the thing. Like, it's hard for me to interpret jokes and sarcasm. But at the same time, like the guy R.J. Cyler plays Billy, like he becomes such a good-hearted person without again putting his autism up front to be like, I'm so much better and I'm a pedestal, like much crappier writing would do. And there's little moments that you kind of relate to and you kind of chuckle at. Like after they got in their powers to that school, that same Billy tries to pick on Billy, and the bully's like pushing him and trying to break his wrist, but he can't do it. And Billy's looking, that's strange. He can't do that. And then the guy tries to headbutt him, and Billy's like, no, 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 don't do that. So he headbutts it, but then the guy falls down, and Billy's like, I was like I tried to tell you. And yeah, I thought they took what was in the show, incorporated it into a less campier, and for me a much more easy to watch movie. Like again, because I didn't grow up with it. Sometimes I watch those early Power Rangers. I go, this is really campy. I mean, if you're into that stuff, then that's the stuff you're into, and I can understand it. But it's like, as a guy that didn't grow up with, I'm in my 40s. It's like I don't know about that. But here, I appreciate what they tried to do. It's a movie that is a little bit more serious, but at the same time, it still knows what it is. It still, I wouldn't say pokes fun at itself, but it's self aware. It's still a movie that's a bit self aware. And there's little details I like when they're in the water because they have the coins. Like they in the water, they glow a certain color. When they meet the robot, and I forget his name. Damn it! I thought it was really annoying on the show. Power Rangers, Power Rangers. Here, I forget the actor they got. Bill Hader, I believe. He was a bit more manageable. He even got a couple chuckles out of me. Where he's looking at the kids, it's like, oh, you got the coins. Yeah, different colors, different kids, different colored kids. That did make me laugh the way he said that. I thought, okay, that was actually kind of funny. Maybe I'm putting a bit too much, but almost as if it's making fun of the diversity thing. But I know that's attention, but I still thought that was pretty funny. And like I said, it's the little moments that really shine. Like they see the Zords that will be later on, and Zach goes out and rides one of them, and there's like, hey, you can't be doing that. We're supposed to be keeping quiet, and Zach and Jason are fighting, so Billy stops them, and just the way the other kids look at him, they go, wow, that's cool. What's going on? Oh my god! Oh, that's so cool! I think they react as if what regular people would react to. And like those little moments and those little maybe I'm overstating it, but they can really relate for the viewer to make you relate to the characters. Now, like I said, if you're doing this for action, there's not a whole lot of action. I can appreciate that he's trying to build up a story, though, and actually try to make me care about what's going on with the characters, at least. Unlike Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtle stuff, which didn't do that in the slightest. I love the Turtles, but I do give a rat's ass about those versions. Ooh, Mighty speaking wannabe Ebonics. You're white, you're black, you're both, you're neither, you're green. Shut up. So yeah, I would have liked a bit more action. Yes. Elizabeth Banks, I'm not sure about her as Rita. I mean, they definitely make her a bit more dangerous of a character compared to the show, where she's actually killing people, and you see that she's a bit more sadistic and a bit more of this like evil witch character. But of the performances, she definitely plays a bit more campier than the others. Maybe it would have been nice to have someone a bit more subtle, intimidating, and scary. You tell Elizabeth was chewing the scenery a bit. I wasn't sure how I felt about that compared to the other actors and the way they play their roles. Maybe if she was at least a bit more subtle and a bit more scary than, because I didn't think she was scary. It's just she was a bit laughable at points. But I'm sure that was the point. Maybe not. I don't know. So I'm not sure, but I'm not big on Elizabeth Banks either. Not the biggest fan of her. Like I said, the opening prank with the cow, I thought, isn't there any other pranks or any other way to start this film? The Krispy Kreme thing, where that's where Rita and this creature she gets, Goldar, they need this thing over here that will help destroy the world, and it happens to be at the Krispy Kreme. I'm like, this has to be like one of the weirdest or worst promotional tie-ins I've seen in a long while. Like, don't do that. Like, you could just make up a fast food place. Like, the joke was that it was a fast food place, they just make up your own. Whether it be some ice cream shop, like, have it be like a shop they go towards, right? Where someone they know is there, where everyone knows your name. Not the Cheers bar. And once they go out to hang out, and people look like, wow, those people are hanging out together. It's like one of the few places they go out and just relax because maybe they all know the owner, because the owner can relate to be an outcast as well. And then the irony is that the place they go happens to be the place where this danger lies, and they just make up the name of it. Like, they didn't need to be Krispy Kreme, because whether your intentions were that way or not, people are going to say, wow, that is some really lousy product placement. I mean, whether that was your intention or not, of course people are going to think that. What else are they going to think in this day and age and time period? So, I don't like that. I thought that was really stupid of them to do. But, like I said, I do like the characters. There's a bit near before we start the third act, where a character seems like he's not going to make it, but Zordon and others help that situation without giving it too much away. And I thought the acting, especially between Billy and Jason, I thought it was actually rather good. I mean, well, I actually grew to like these characters. The action, when it's there, is entertaining enough. They fight these things, the putties, these rock creatures, and I wish it was longer. I wish the fight was longer. Although sadly, even that felt like it was more martial arts than the Michael Bay produced Turtles films combined. I thought it was cool. Like once they get the Zords, you have the shot where they're running towards. You have the Power Rangers theme. You go go Power Rangers. Grand. Again, I wish that was a bit longer, but I thought that was a nice motif there. And they kind of hit the low beats. The Zords, they fight the putties and the suits. They fight the big creature with the Zords. They fall in. You think they're dead, but they're together. They're the Megazord. Even that's not a long fight. When it's the Megazord, it's pretty much like maybe a tick. They get hit a couple times. Suplex City, bitch. Here's the swords. Game over. And I was like, wow, that seemed a bit quick. That's the thing, like the action scenes just seemed a bit too short. I mean, granted, I'm not saying it has to go on and on like some of those later Michael Bay Transformer films, where it felt like it went on forever. But I said, I wish they were a bit longer. Now, maybe again, I mean, this had, I think, $100 million budget, but maybe it's like we need to save for the future, but then you don't know if there is a future. So I can So I'm not going to say it's a perfect movie. Like I said, I wish some of the action scenes were a bit longer, maybe a bit more interspersed throughout. But I said, I do think its heart was in the right place. I do think it was a good starting point. The kids, they're in detention each week, and you can tell they have this bond with each other, like they're playing with earlier paper airplanes, or someone sets up maybe a possible logo and they're throwing these paper back and forth. Then in the middle of the credits, they mention there's a new character named Tommy, which would be eventually the green or white Power Ranger in the show. Like I say, it would have been interesting to see where they went, but the film did not do well. It made $85 million in the U.S., $142 million worldwide. When you have a $100 million budget, plus you got marketing and advertising, plus whatever money you make, you're splitting it with the movie theaters, so the studio only gets a portion of that. It seemed like they lost money, and that's a shame. And I kind of wonder why, like, and people don't think I'm crazy for saying this. I think the reason I keep mentioning those Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtle films, not just because one of them I'm going to review next, thanks to Jonathan, I think they hurt this movie. But granted, when the film came out, it got a mixed reaction. Not everyone loved it, so maybe regardless. But at the same time, have you seen the 2014 Ninja Turtles film? That is way, way, way worse than anything in this movie, and that still made a lot of money. Granted, that was because people were curious, because they had not seen a live-action Turtles film since 1993. And, I mean, both are very popular brands, but I think you can make the argument that Ninja Turtles are a bit bigger of a brand than Power Rangers. At least that's what it seems like to me. But, I mean, then the second 2016 Turtles film came out and it bombed. I think because a lot of people were interested, or they were intrigued, or they gave it a chance, and they saw how garbage it was, how awful it was, how terrible it was. And like, well, screw it, I'm not going to watch another one of these. So the 2016 film came out and it bombed. And then they looked at this, they go, oh my god, if it's anything like those, I'm not going to go see this movie. And yeah, maybe some people saw and they wanted a more campier version, they wanted a more goofier, sillier, or they wanted more action, or they didn't like that it took itself too seriously. I appreciated that. I actually liked that direction. It wasn't R-rated, it didn't need to be R-rated and stuff, but I thought it took, when I say it took itself seriously, as in the characters and the way they interact, and that's what was the big positive for me. Was me growing to like these folks. and you have these crazy things happen to them. Like I said, I thought it was a good origin film. Not perfect, not flawless, but good enough that I would have liked to have seen sequels to this. I would have. Sadly, it's not the case. And now it's kind of left in the dust, which is too bad. Because I don't think it deserves that. Like I said, it's not the best movie I've seen. Would not have been the best movie 2017. I think that would have been like, what, John Wick Chapter 2, among other films I saw that year. I think John Wick 2 was that year. But it is godly compared to those Michael Bay produced Turtles films. Like, again, if you think it's bad, teach their own. But I'm like, go watch those, and then watch this, and then you tell me. Because like I said, this one, it didn't have as much awkward, awful humor. It didn't have boner jokes. My shell was tightening. It didn't have fart jokes. And the lead characters felt like they were treated with respect. And the teeniest bit of integrity. And again, would like to see more action. Krispy Kreme to go out the window. Just to say, at least it wasn't Dunkin' Donuts. But Bryan Cranston, a good actor, liked to see him in it as Zordon. Would like to have seen more of what could have been done with that character with Bryan Cranston in it. And the actors did their jobs well. I don't even mind the look of the Power Rangers. I know some people didn't like the way the suits looked. I thought they looked fine to me. Yeah, a little bit Iron Man-ish. Right, I mean, they even reference Iron Man in the script. But it didn't bother me. Because it's not a one-for-one with the show, but I thought it was enough that it didn't seem like this travesty. Like the Mongoloid looking, steroid abusing, chapstick wearing dick faces in those Turtles films. Maybe that's just me though. But yeah, this I actually liked. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.